So in this pod, I'm going to talk about some of the key topics and themes that we'll be exploring in writing ecologies so that you can get a sense of what you'll be learning and why. The ideas I'll outline will be introductory, but they're designed to give you a sense of the what's at stake in this unit. Now, I've already offered a brief preview of the unit in the welcome video, and if you haven't watched that yet, then please go back and watch it now. It's still on the unit homepage. Don't worry, I'll wait. Okay, so in the welcome video, I said that the fundamental objective of writing ecologies is to explore the relationship between technology, human expression and culture, with a view to considering how technology shapes and informs the way we communicate. What we'll be arguing through the readings we introduce you to and the reflections that we'll be asking you to make on both commonplace and lesser-known texts and platforms is that technology plays a major role in shaping the way we interact, share information, and tell stories about ourselves and the world. So chief amongst our interests is the kind of writing and communication platforms that have emerged out of the digital sphere. Because over the last decade and a half, as you'd be well aware, there's been a major shift in what the media theorist Günter Kress calls the landscape of communication. Spearheaded by both technological and cultural change, the 21st century has come to be defined as an era in which the way we communicate, find and share information, the way we create and share stories, and the way we understand and craft our identities is radically different from the centuries that preceded it. So at the heart of this is the way we engage with the news media. As you'll see in this video from prominent media scholar Henry Jenkins, 21st century media users are no longer confined to being spectators, to just watching the world go by. Now they can be participants, actively shaping and contributing to the world. Media users no longer have to simply be the audience to whom stories are told. They can, instead, become the storytellers, a shift that's been made possible through the technological affordances found in a diverse and complex array of media platforms.
If we go back over thousands of years of human history, the most important stories were retold many, many times around the campfire. They belong to the folk. As we move into the 20th century, those images now belong to major media companies who claim exclusive ownership of it. What we're seeing is in the digital age, as the public begins to take media in its own hands and begins to assert its right to retell those stories, the public are taking media without the permission of copyright holders and innovating, experimenting, recontextualizing, responding to those images in new ways. We take control of the media as it enters our lives. And that's the essence of convergence culture. Convergence culture is a world where every story, every sound, brand, image, relationship plays itself out across the maximum number of media channels. It's shaped as much by the decisions made in teenagers' bedrooms as it is by the decisions made in the Viacom boardroom. So a discussion list online or a Wikipedia function according to collective intelligence, where the group as a whole can put together knowledge in a more complex way than any individual member is capable of doing. We are developing technologies around collective intelligence which allow us to monitor government-produced data in ways that would have been impossible before. We're seeing human rights activists taking videos recorded by torturers and turning them around and using them to call attention to the role of torture around the planet. George Orwell imagined a world where Big Brother was watching us, but we instead, with little cell phone cameras, are watching Big Brother every moment of the day.
So as you will have heard in the video, one of Henry Jenkins' key points is that digital technologies have flipped media power. So unlike the old days when a few big companies controlled the stories and the information that people received, think about television and newspapers for instance, the mediascape in which we now live is diverse and complex. and it allows users to bypass the big operators and to tell stories that matter to them in powerful new ways. Through the use of contemporary technologies, media users can actively create, collaborate, and share content. They can take, innovate, recontextualize, and respond. And this has led to the creation of new communities, to new ways of being creative, and to new modes of communication. It is in many ways like a DIY economy, where the world is constantly being remade through an active process of remixing. In fact, in an interesting twist of fate, it's not uncommon now to see big media companies now using media made by ordinary citizens, which is kind of a flip on how things used to be. So it's here then, in this space of creativity, of participation, of interactivity, of media power flips and self-generated content, that this unit finds its force. Because what we'll be doing is looking at how these new media spaces have fundamentally changed what it means to be a writer, a reader, a storyteller, and a citizen more broadly in the modern day world. What we want to know is how narrative and writing and how opportunities for engaging with audiences have and are continuing to be transformed through the use of different technologies and the emergence of new narrative cultures. The affordances or capabilities of online environments have led to some highly innovative and compelling approaches to storytelling and communication at the individual, the collective, and the commercial media level. And in this unit, we'll be looking at some of them. Now, I think examples are always really important, especially when you're coming across new ideas. So let's go back to an excerpt from the Welcome to the Unit video to see how some of the themes and ideas might be actualized into questions and issues for study. Let's take a quick look now at some of the specific works and sites that we'll be considering, starting at your first tutorial. So for those of you with a special interest in journalism, we'll be asking you to think about the way contemporary technologies have changed the way news is both crafted, delivered, and consumed. We'll look at long-form interactive journalism projects, like the New York Times Pulitzer Prize winner Snowfall, and the Wall Street Journal's project, The Lobotomy Files, Forgotten Soldiers. And we'll consider how, for example, multimedia is used to create a narrative experience that is remarkably different to what might appear on a printed page. We'll also look at the way digital projects like Snowfall, Lobotomy Files, and Carrie Batten's interview with singer Janelle Monáe recalibrate the sensory relationship between the text and the body of the user, bridging the distance between user and text, and leading to an experience that can be both powerful and immersive. Interactive web documentaries like Welcome to Pine Point, meanwhile, offer an opportunity to look at how networked medias challenge narrative structure, the idea of a beginning and end, for example, and the relationship between the maker and the user. Welcome to Pine Point, as you'll find, is not only beautiful to engage with, it's also highly interactive. Also of interest to us will be networked knowledge collation sites like wikis, which suggest a collaborative and democratic approach to writing and knowledge making, but we'll ask if they really do. We'll look at social platforms like Facebook to think about how online spaces have reconditioned the way we think about the lines between public and private discourses, and importantly, the way that identity is now fundamentally shaped by the written word and the way we craft and construct ourselves for consumption of others. This will also be at stake when we look at blogging, a writing tool that has also brought the self into the public domain, while offering new opportunities for changing the way we think about news, knowledge, and political participation. All of these forms have changed and are continuing to change both the conditions for writing and reading. And in this subject, you'll be introduced to some cutting-edge theories that will help you understand why. We'll look at narrative theory, media theory, and at scholarship that deals with digital cultures. And we'll ask you to use and apply them not only to the reading you'll do, but also to the making of your own digital works. So over the course of the semester, we'll interact and cut across these texts and many others, and we'll be asking you to consider them alongside models and concepts from your set readings, and to then reflect on whether your engagement with those same works has been deepened or challenged in some way. We'll be talking more about theory as the semester goes on, but for now, let me say that theory is a really vital part of this unit. Some students find theory confronting or overwhelming, oftentimes because it's hard. But know this, theory is a really important model of thinking that helps us to understand how some part of the world works. It's not just a description of what happens, but a statement of the underlying rationale for why something works in the way it does. And knowing how to read it and how to work the complexities of its language will make you a much smarter practitioner. We'll work slowly with the theory so that you can find your feet, and we'll do that in close consultation with real-world texts and the kinds of works and sites that you're likely to be using now and which you could find yourself engaging with and creating when you're in professional practice. So that's why we're going to look at social media like Facebook and Twitter, and we'll also look at online journalism, blogging, online documentary, and writing and storytelling on mobile phones as part of considering the potential of each as a communications storytelling platform. But we're also going to be supporting and guiding you through the creation of your own online works that you might be able to show off as part of your developing portfolio. We'll be asking you to use a range of platforms and sites, including a blogging platform called Medium, to create your own digital text as part of the final assignment. So structurally, the unit is divided into 4 modules, with each canvassing a different set of issues, and your tutors will take you through these in this week's classes. But let me summarise now. So we can say that writing ecologies is about the expressive power of network digital technologies. It's about the way we invent, adapt, and use technologies and media to communicate, tell stories, and to craft a sense of ourselves in the world. Now, we think this is really exciting stuff. We teach it, we work in the field, and we love it. But we're also aware that some of you might be thinking at this point, yeah, but so what? You might be asking why it's important to spend a semester at uni studying this stuff. What you might be asking is in it for me. And in the next pod, I'm going to explain why.